What if the person meant for you, the one chosen not just by fate but by divine design, is already being aligned with your life? What if the struggles, the heartbreaks, the moments of solitude weren't signs of failure, but preparation? Love is not merely about attraction or comfort. It is about responsibility, transformation, and purpose. The right partner is not just someone you desire, but someone who challenges you, refines you, and calls you to something higher. God's hand moves through subtle confirmations, patterns that repeat, encounters that defy logic, an undeniable pull towards someone who awakens something deep within you. But are you truly paying attention? Are you willing to accept that love is not about completion, but about growth? That the person meant for you is not here to make life easier, but to make you stronger? If God is revealing the signs, will you recognize them? Or will you ignore the call to step into the love you were destined for? There's a fundamental mistake people make when it comes to love. They assume it's random. They believe it's just about meeting the right person at the right time, that it happens purely by accident or through sheer luck. But what if that's not true? What if love, real love, is orchestrated by something far greater than we understand? What if certain people are placed in your path not by chance, but by divine design? You've likely felt it before, the inexplicable pull towards someone, the sense that your meeting wasn't just ordinary. Maybe you ran into them at the exact moment you needed to hear something, or they came into your life just as you were struggling with something they had already overcome. Perhaps you dismissed it at first, calling it coincidence, but the more you think about it, the more you realize some connections simply don't make sense in human terms. This is what it means for God to align you with someone. It's not always about instant attraction or effortless harmony. Sometimes it's about being drawn to someone who will challenge you, refine you, and force you to grow. And often these connections appear in ways that defy logic, as if reality itself is bending to bring two people together. When God aligns you with someone, you start to notice patterns, repeated encounters, a sense of familiarity that you can't quite explain. They speak words that resonate deeply, mirroring thoughts you've never shared out loud. Their presence feels significant, even if you don't fully understand why. And here's the key. It's not just about how they make you feel. It's about what they awaken in you. A divinely aligned partner doesn't just fit into your life, they shift it. They stir something in your soul that forces you to question, to grow, to become. It's not about comfort, it's about transformation. Because if love is truly meant for something greater, it won't leave you unchanged. It won't let you remain stagnant. It will demand more from you, and in doing so, reveal the person you were always meant to become. But here's the challenge. Are you paying attention? Are you aware enough to recognize when God is orchestrating something in your life? Or are you so fixated on your own idea of how things should be that you miss it? Because when God aligns you with someone, it's not always obvious. It doesn't always come wrapped in perfection. Sometimes it comes through struggle, through challenge, through an undeniable sense that this person is meant to be a part of your story. So the question is whether God is aligning you with someone. The question is, will you see it? And more importantly, will you have the courage to embrace it when it comes? One of the clearest signs that God is bringing someone into your life for a greater purpose is the way they challenge you. Not in a way that diminishes you, but in a way that forces you to grow. We have this idea that love is about ease, about finding someone who seamlessly fits into our world without friction. But if you look at the most transformative relationships, the ones that shape people into who they're meant to be, they are rarely easy. They demand something, they expose weaknesses, force self-reflection, and push both people toward something higher. Think about the moments in your life when you've truly grown. Were they comfortable? Were they effortless? Or were they filled with struggle, with discomfort, with the undeniable realization that you had to change? The same principle applies to love. The right person won't just make you feel good. They will make you better. They will hold a mirror to your flaws, not to shame you, but to help you see what's been holding you back. And that's not an accident, that's design. When God brings someone into your life, there's a deeper purpose at play. This person will call out the best in you, even when it's uncomfortable. They will see the version of you that you are capable of becoming, and whether through encouragement or confrontation, they will push you toward it. That's what true partnership is. Not just companionship, but accountability. A person who is divinely placed in your life will not let you stagnate. They will not allow you to drift aimlessly. They will challenge your assumptions, test your patience, and make you question things you once took for granted. And in doing so, they will force you to refine yourself, to become the kind of person who is truly ready for love, not just to receive it, but to give it fully. But here's the problem. Most people resist this process. They mistake challenge for incompatibility. The moment a relationship demands growth, they assume something is wrong, they walk away. They convince themselves that love should always be effortless, that the right person won't require them to change, but that's a lie. The truth is, anything meaningful requires transformation. Anything worth having demands effort, and love, real love, is no different. So ask yourself, when someone challenges you, do you run? Do you shut down? Or do you see it for what it truly is? A sign that this connection isn't just ordinary, that maybe, just maybe, it was meant to refine you, to elevate you, to prepare you for something greater. Because if you reject every challenge, if you insist on remaining exactly as you are, then how will you ever grow into the person capable of sustaining the kind of love you say you want? The right person will not let you remain unchanged. And if you are wise, you won't see that as a threat. You'll see it as a gift. One of the most undeniable signs that God is bringing someone into your life for a purpose is the sense of peace that settles within you, even in the face of uncertainty. This isn't the kind of peace that comes from having everything figured out. It's not about the absence of challenges, nor does it mean that everything will be easy. Instead, it's a profound internal knowing, a quiet, unwavering conviction that you are exactly where you're meant to be. Most people mistake peace for comfort. They assume that if something is right, it should be effortless, that there should be no moments of doubt, no fear, no discomfort. But real peace, the kind that signals divine alignment, isn't about having perfect circumstances. It's about having clarity even in the midst of struggle. It's about realizing that despite the imperfections, despite the unknowns, you are not being led astray. Think about how often people sabotage meaningful relationships because they mistake their own fears for a lack of peace. The moment things feel uncertain, they assume something is wrong. They tell themselves that if this were truly meant to be, they would feel nothing but excitement and certainty all the time. But that's not how growth works. That's not how transformation happens. When something or someone is truly significant in your life, there will always be moments of doubt. Because significance requires risk. It requires stepping into the unknown. But here's the key distinction. Fear and doubt create chaos. They leave you restless. They make you anxious, unsettled, unable to think clearly. Divine peace, on the other hand, exists even in the midst of uncertainty. You may not know exactly how things will unfold, but you are not consumed by fear. You are not plagued by confusion. Instead, there is a deep, almost unshakable awareness that something about this person, this connection, is different. That it's meaningful, that it's leading you somewhere important, even if you don't fully understand the path just yet. Now, that doesn't mean you ignore red flags. It doesn't mean you stay in something toxic under the illusion that struggle always means growth. No, it means you learn to discern between the discomfort that comes from stepping into something real and the warning signs that something is truly wrong, because those are not the same thing. One is an invitation to grow. The other is a sign to walk away. So ask yourself, when you think about this person, does your soul feel at war with itself? Or do you feel, despite the imperfections, a sense of alignment? Do you feel restless and anxious? Or do you feel an unshaken awareness that this connection is shaping you in ways you cannot yet explain? God doesn't always reveal the full picture at once. He often gives you just enough clarity to take the next step. And sometimes the clearest sign that you are on the right path isn't that everything is easy, it's that even in the unknown, your soul is at peace. One of the most profound confirmations that God is bringing someone into your life is the way they challenge you to grow, not in a way that shatters you, but in a way that calls you to something higher. Growth is uncomfortable. It requires sacrifice. It demands that we confront parts of ourselves we would rather avoid. And yet, when God aligns you with someone who is meant to walk this path with you, that discomfort becomes purposeful. It stops being a burden and starts becoming a means of transformation. Most people seek relationships that validate who they are in the moment, not realizing that real love is not about validation, it's about refinement. It's about two people sharpening one another, pushing each other beyond their limitations, revealing blind spots, and inspiring one another to become more disciplined, more resilient, more virtuous. If someone enters your life and merely reinforces your weaknesses, if they encourage you to remain stagnant, if they make you comfortable in your complacency, then that relationship, no matter how intoxicating, will ultimately diminish you. But if they challenge you, if they push you to think differently, to break free from destructive patterns, to become a better version of yourself, then that is a sign worth paying attention to. Now, this doesn't mean that love is supposed to be a constant battle. It doesn't mean that struggle is proof of compatibility. But it does mean that the person God is aligning you with will not allow you to remain the same. They will disrupt the unhealthy cycles you've been trapped in. They will demand honesty, not convenience. They will force you to take responsibility for your actions, not just offer blind reassurance. And that at times will be deeply uncomfortable because the human mind resists change. It clings to what is familiar, even when that familiarity is destructive. But think about this. If someone is truly meant to walk alongside you, would God send them into your life simply to keep you comfortable, or would he send them to make sure you don't waste the potential he has placed inside you? Love is not just about companionship. It is about purpose. And the right person, the one God is preparing you for, will align with that purpose in a way that is unmistakable. They will see the weight of your calling even when you do not. They will push you to become more disciplined when you are tempted to drift. They will speak truth when you are lost in illusion. And they will not let you settle for anything less than what you were created for. So ask yourself, is this connection making you stronger? Is it forcing you to confront your weaknesses? Is it shaping you into someone who is more courageous, more disciplined, more honest? Because if it is, then that discomfort you feel, that pull toward growth, is not a reason to run. It is a sign that you are exactly where you are meant to be. One of the clearest signs that God is bringing someone into your life is the profound sense of peace and certainty that surrounds the relationship. Not necessarily the absence of conflict, but the presence of an unshakable foundation. Too often, people confuse excitement with alignment. They mistake chaos for passion, instability for intensity. But real divinely orchestrated connections are not marked by relentless turmoil. They are marked by a deep, abiding sense that you are exactly where you are supposed to be. Now, this doesn't mean you will never experience challenges. Any meaningful relationship will require effort, compromise, and resilience. But the difference is in the underlying structure. When something is divinely aligned, it does not feel forced. It does not feel like you are constantly swimming against the current, trying to hold together something that is determined to fall apart. Instead, there is a natural flow, a sense that even in the difficult moments, there is an order, a purpose, a reason for the struggle. Consider how easily we accept disorder in our lives, thinking that because something is intense or dramatic, it must be meaningful. That is a lie we tell ourselves, because we have been conditioned to equate love with suffering. But God's plan for your life does not require you to endure endless cycles of dysfunction just to prove your devotion. If you find yourself trapped in a relationship that fills you with anxiety, uncertainty, or a deep sense of misalignment, you must ask yourself a difficult question. Am I holding on to this because I believe it is meant for me, or because I am afraid to let it go. Real love, love that is divinely led, does not create confusion. It does not demand that you abandon yourself in order to keep it. It does not strip you of your peace. Instead, it reinforces who you are at your core. It strengthens you not by overwhelming you with emotion, but by grounding you in something unshakable. You do not feel the need to perform or constantly prove your worth. You do not live in fear of being abandoned at the first sign of hardship. Instead, there is a knowing, a quiet, profound understanding that this connection is built on something greater than fleeting emotion. And this is critical because peace is not something that can be faked. You can pretend to be happy, you can convince yourself that the highs are worth the crushing lows, but your soul knows when it is at rest. It knows when it has found something real, and when that happens, everything changes. So ask yourself, honestly, does this relationship bring you closer to peace, or does it keep you in a state of uncertainty? Because God's confirmation does not come in the form of relentless turmoil. It comes in the form of clarity. And when you find it, you won't need to force it. You will simply know. When God is bringing the right person into your life, there is a profound alignment, not just between the two of you, but within yourself. There is a deep and unmistakable sense that you are stepping into something that is meant to be, not because it is perfect, not because it is free from challenge, but because it calls you towards something higher. It does not merely satisfy a fleeting desire. It speaks to the core of who you are and who you are becoming. Too often, people approach relationships as a means of validation. They look for someone to fill the gaps in their self-worth, to distract them from their own unresolved struggles. And when they do, they find themselves in relationships that are built on need, not purpose. But a divinely guided relationship does not exist to complete you, it exists to refine you. It is not about seeking someone who will rescue you from your fears, but about walking beside someone who will challenge you to confront them. When you are in alignment with God's plan, you will notice that this person does not enable your weaknesses. They encourage your strengths. They do not allow you to shrink into complacency. They push you to grow. And this is critical because growth is uncomfortable. It demands that you step beyond what is easy, what is familiar. A relationship that is truly meant for you will not allow you to remain stagnant. It will force you to become more disciplined, more courageous, more accountable, not through control, not through force, but through the sheer presence of someone who refuses to let you settle for less than you are capable of. Now, this is where many people struggle. Growth often feels like discomfort. It requires work. And in a world that has convinced us that love should always be effortless, that it should always be easy, many people walk away from the very relationships that are meant to elevate them simply because they do not recognize the difference between challenge and dysfunction. But there is a crucial distinction. Dysfunction drains you, diminishes you, leaves you feeling lost. Challenge stretches you, strengthens you, calls you to become something greater. A person who is truly meant for you will not make your life easier in the superficial sense. They will make it richer. They will introduce complexity, depth, responsibility. And that is what love is. Not a refuge from life's difficulties, but a force that equips you to face them with strength and conviction. So ask yourself, is this person making me better? Not just in the way they treat me, but in the way they challenge me to show up in the world. Because a relationship that is truly orchestrated by God does not simply bring comfort, it brings transformation. And when you find that, you will realize that love is not about escape, it is about becoming.